So the new Master Duel ban list is here. We'll go over it, and I will also give you my thoughts as to what might be the best decks and strategies moving forward. If you still need a beautiful playmat, go to zerodamagegaming.com and use the code Solemn for a discount. There's this one, and there's this one, and this one, and this one. Use the code Solemn for a discount. So first of all, we have Sprite Blue to 2. What does this hit? Every Sprite deck, basically. It'll be less consistent, but overall, if this is the only Sprite hit, of course, it's not gonna, like, do major stuff. It's just like, oh, okay, my deck is slightly worse. Then we have Girsu the Orcust Mech Knight from 1 to 2. So this makes Orcust decks and Mech Knight decks a bit better. That's fine. In a TCG, this is at 3, but the big difference is that we don't have Harp. Everyone keeps asking to bring Harp back. Overall, though, I don't see this changing all that much. Then we have Nadir Servant from 1 to 2. So a lot of people are talking about, like, Dogmatica and how this is better for Dogmatica. And sure, obviously, is better for Dogmatica. But one interesting little tidbit of information is that if we were to get the branded support from Photon Hypernova, or was it Darkwing Blast, like those sets, Nadir Servant actually becomes a really good card for branded as well. You can actually make it so that if you get ashed on branded fusion, which will be often because everyone has to play 3 ash because of Max C, now you can go Nadir Servant and still combo. So that is interesting. I would definitely play 2 if we end up getting that support very soon. You know, like the Bestial stuff, like the Cartesia, like the Grand Guignol. Once you get all of that stuff, Nadir Servant, I think, is going to be very, very solid in that deck as well. My oh my, I wonder what we're getting next pack. Then we have Metaverse from 1 to 2. This doesn't matter at all. We don't have Mystic Mine in this game. Cyber Angel Benten from 1 to 2. This is cute for Drytron, I guess, but like kind of doesn't matter, I think. There's no Eva, right? Then cards to be limited. Keldo from 2 to 1. We have Medora from 3 to 1, and we have Agido from 2 to 1. These are the only Ishizu hits. Now, I've been seeing people say, oh, now Ishizu will be more fair. Does this fix Tearlament? Blah, blah. No, it doesn't. Tyr is still the best deck. I can tell you that with a lot of certainty. Tyr with, like, even a small Ishizu package was still the best deck in OCG, even when they were hit even harder. Like, when the Tyr cards themselves were hit, and the Ishizu cards were hit, Tyr was still best deck in OCG. Not by a landslide quite as much, but we weren't hit as hard either. So I think Tyr Ishizu is still the best deck. I'm assuming that they're just not hitting the Tyr deck right now because it's still in the shop. I think maybe the next ban list they'll start hitting Tyr. Now, the more of the Tyr deck they start hitting, the more other cards will have to run, of course. And so I think now there's still enough good quality cards to just build the deck Ishizu Tyr plus non-engine. But it's very possible if we start seeing Tyr hits as well, we will have to start running like the worst engines, like the King of the Swamp stuff, like the Shadow stuff, you know. The stuff that is overall not quite as powerful as Tyr and Ishizu, but once they start like scraping off the top, you gotta start looking lower and lower and lower until you hit that. However, I do think the branded engine is also gonna be interesting. So like if we have a very tiny Tyr package and no Ishizu cards anymore, kind of like we do in the TCG, you know, just everything at 1, then I think branded Ishizu Tyr might be interesting in this format as well. But of course, it'll depend on what other support we get. If we were to magically get the Bestials soon, then I think you just replace the Ishizu cards with Bestials, and then those are still going to be great in the mirror, and then they also let you make Beatrice. So overall, I think Tyr best deck, let's go. The real fix would of course be to just nuke the Ishizu cards, and then if we get Kashtira maybe in like 2 months or so, then I think Tyr will be shit anyway. Like the only reason Tyr could deal with Kash was because Tyr could start playing on their turn very reliably because Hafnis would always be hitting Millers, but once that's no longer the case, GG, you know. So Kash, if there's enough Tyr hits, will end up being the Tyr killer, but if you take like full power Tyr with full power Kash, full power Tyr is better. Also because you can make the rank 4 so easily, so you can out with Zeus and then play with Tyrs, but that will no longer be the case because Keldo and Medora are now at 1. So next we have newly forbidden Cyberstein. That's fair enough, it was just banned in the TCG as well. It is basically just always going to be part of degenerate stuff, you know, like Cyberstein will never be part of a fair deck. It will always be some bullshit combo deck playing with themselves for far too long and then just setting up like an Exterio on top of their board or something like that. Or in the case of Tyr, it's just an instant fusion on legs, which is also just insane. So for that reason, Cyberstein banned, absolutely. I love this card though. I like my little Steiny boy, but I understand why he's gone. Then we have Smoke Grenade of the Thief. This is part of some FTK or like a hand loop thingy with a power tool, whatever the hell. Again, Smoke Grenade of the Thief is a garbage card until it's part of some FTK bullshit type strategy, so it's fine and it's gone. No one is gonna miss this card. Now we have Terraforming to 0. This is a very, very harsh hit because it's like to ensure that tier players cannot have 2 Perlerinos, and while other decks with broken field spells can't have 2 of them while also being limited. The issue though is that a bunch of like weaker decks actually love using this card as well. So like if I'm playing Toons, now I have 1 less Toon Kingdom. Now of course Toons aren't the best example, we have a billion searchers, but you know, any deck that relies on their field spell now becomes less consistent, which is, you know, kind of awkward. Also, if we get Kashtira, again, I think in maybe 2 months or so, then Kashtira is going to be worse because Kashtira is already a very inconsistent deck, and so if you now have less Raid Salt, which is like their field spell, it's kind of like their tier field spell, their Perlerino, they have Raid Salt, you're now going to have it less often, so Kash will just be more sacky. Like if Kash gets combo, oh, they win. If Kash doesn't get combo, oh, they lose. Kind of feels bad. Yeah, this is like a hit to that as well. Of course, we'll also have to see if Kash comes pre-hit, because if Kashtira becomes pre-hit with like maybe their planet basically at 1, that deck is gonna be so bricky. That's gonna be so annoying. So yeah, overall this change sucks. I get why they're doing it, but it really sucks. And basically that's it. That is yikes. So this is like the complete ban list. Of course, shout out to Master Duel Meta for the website. Overall, what can you see here? Sprite was not hit at all. Tier was barely hit, and that's basically it. Everything else kind of doesn't matter. The Dear Servant, again, could be interesting if Branded gets like its next wave of support. But beyond that, cute, I guess. This more so feels like a precursor to a real ban list. Like, I think next ban list, maybe, they might end up hitting Tier and Sprite way harder than this. So far, this doesn't change anything. Tier is still best deck. I know some people are coping. Nah, Tier is still best deck. Now, let me know in the comments down below if you want to see me make like a deck profile, updated with all the limits and so forth. Are there any other decks you want to see? Let me know. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and check out ZeroDamageGaming.com for the best playmats and deck boxes out there. Use code SOLOM for a discount. I will see you soon. Ciao.